Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. Today I'm going over some new polls that were just released that go over President Trump's job approval and why I think this should be a warning sign to the Republicans that 2026 could potentially get very messy for them. So, on the Real Clear Politics website, some new polls have come out that now has President Trump's approval rating at 45.4% to his disapproval rating of 52.1%. Overall, President Trump is disapproved of by 6.7%. So you may be thinking, okay, well, 6.5% or so disapprove of Trump. What's the context of this? Is this really a big deal? And this is where things get very, very important. Trump right now has been down a pretty significant amount since he took office. He started up 6.2% when he took office in the first poll, where he had 50.5% approve and 44.3% disapproved. 4 months later now, that is almost completely flipped, where Trump is now down 6.7% at 45.4 to 52.1. And the reason that this is so alarming is when you look at the context of past polls, it usually doesn't happen for a president this quickly. When you look back at the history of President Trump's polling numbers, he's always been underwater when it's coming to how he's polling. He usually hasn't been that good. So right now he was polling in January at an all-time high for him at 50.5%. If you want to go back to Election Day, where Trump obviously defeated Kamala Harris, he was hovering around these numbers of about 45% or so. So Trump is still technically above where he was on Election Day. The only problem is, after a president gets elected president, there's usually a grace period, which is often called the honeymoon period, where the president's approval numbers are usually pretty high. Just to give you an idea of this, when Joe Biden got elected, his numbers started out, he was approved of by about 20 points, and his numbers remained positive and only dipped below into negative around August of 2021. So Biden was positively approved of in the polling averages for about 8 months or so. If you want to go back to President Obama, it was even longer than this, where Obama was approved of positively until around February or so of 2010. So both Biden and Obama had a long leash in terms of being approved of. Trump has already no longer been positively approved of in this poll. And what's more concerning is not the fact that Trump has gone negative in terms of his approval rating, it's how quickly it's happened and how sharply it's happened. Because Trump went from 50% now down to 45%, and it's happened really, really quickly. And the most concerning thing for President Trump in this is the issues on which he's being disapproved of. The economy, which is almost always the most important issue come every single election for president, for midterm elections, for Senate, for governor, for House. This is almost always the end-all and be-all, top-of-the-line issue. And this is a very important issue to how Trump won in 2024. Things were too unaffordable under Joe Biden. Inflation was too high. Trump is going to fix all that. Right now on this issue, Trump is underwater by about 12.5%, which is even lower than his approval rating, where he's down about 6.5%. The economy, Trump is disapproved of here by almost double, which that is a very big warning sign for Trump. If he can't turn things around, his approval rating should only get worse over time. When you want to look at foreign policy, another strength during the 2024 election for President Trump was if Trump wins, he'll restore order, he'll get everything back on track, he'll get America back on track. And this, he's down 13.2%. So again, underwater by a lot. And lastly, inflation. Trump campaigned big on inflation, that it was Joe Biden's fault, and when Trump wins, he'll fix it. This is the one he's most underwater on. 19, almost 20 points, 19.9%, Trump's underwater on inflation. This is with immigration, where Trump is only underwater by 1.2%. Trump remains actually pretty high on immigration. Only a 1.2% negative spread for Trump on immigration, and that happened in the last few days or so. Trump was positively viewed on immigration for a while. But on the economy, which is often regarded, again, as the most important issue, Trump is down 12 points, and now his approval rating, 6.7%, is suffering. But, okay, this has been going on for a few weeks or so. Trump has been around March or so, Trump's approval rating went negative, and it's been underwater by about a point to 2 points or so. Why is it becoming a big deal now? Because it went from about 4 points down to 6.7 in the last 2 weeks or so. And that came in part due to a few polls in the last few days that shows Trump's approval rating minus 13, minus 12, minus 10, minus 9, minus 11, minus 11. If it was a one-off poll, I would say, well, it's a one-off poll. It's probably not that, whatever. But 3 polls in a row showing Trump at double digits negatively approved of should be a warning sign for the president and for Republicans for 2026 and 2028. Now, as always, we're at the end of April. The elections for Virginia and New Jersey aren't until November, and 2026 isn't for another year after that. So things are going to change multiple times from now till then. But right now, at the moment, things don't look too great for President Trump and, in turn, the Republicans. The latest generic vote for 2026 has the Democrats leading over the Republicans by about 2 points. But the New York Times, the new poll, has Democrats +3. Fox News has the Democrats up 7. That should be a troubling sign as well for the Republicans over Democrats. Going into 2026, the Senate map right now, Republicans are currently favored in about 51 Senate seats. Democrats I have favored in about 45, with 4 of them that I rank as battlegrounds. If the Democrats are winning the overall generic vote by about 7 points or so, obviously Michigan, Maine, North Carolina, and Georgia, all 4 of them, I would expect to be Democratic wins. But then we're getting into the possibility of maybe Iowa or Texas or Nebraska or Alaska getting more and more Democratic, less Republican, and maybe potentially getting close to even putting them in play. On the governor's map for 2026, I have about 6 states listed as battlegrounds right now. Again, if the Democrats do well enough nationwide, maybe Democrats are able to hold on to Wisconsin, Michigan, and flip Georgia, flip Nevada, hold on in a tight race in Arizona. Maybe with a Democratic governor term limited in Kansas, maybe Democrats are even more competitive there. So these numbers should be a troubling sign for 2026 for the Republicans. And recently, just a few days ago, I did do a video going over all the really close competitive House races in 2024 that flipped to the Republicans that new Republicans represent. In 2026, I made like a video that kind of showed could the Democrats flip them back and what the map in the House would look like in 2026 if they did. And I got the Democrats up to 231 House seats, Republicans down to 204. If President Trump's approval ratings continue to fall between now and 2026 and even dip below 40%, this 231 to 204 House for the Democrats may end up looking like a moderate gain for the Democrats. The Democrats could win even more House seats. That I really only gave the seats that were lean for the Republicans or tilt for the Republicans to the Democrats. There may even be House seats that went by over 5 points for the Republicans. They may even go into some of the Democratic columns, and then the Democrats could have an even bigger majority in the U.S. House. So that's why this is really, really important to talk about in perspective of 2026. And obviously, the Republicans in charge, President Trump and the Trump administration, know this. They know Trump's likely underwater on the economy. They know Trump's underwater on foreign policy. But if things don't turn around soon, this could get a lot worse for Trump and the Republicans very, very quickly. Again, the good news for Trump and the Republicans is it's only the end of April. The bad news is it's also only the end of April, and Trump is already underwater by about 7 points. So, can Trump continue this without things getting better on the economy in the next few months? Because if they do, that 45.5%, based on the trajectory, could be below 40% by August if things do not show an improvement sometime soon. But obviously, we're going to have to wait and see how this develops. But I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to give it a like, make sure to click subscribe, and leave a comment below telling me your thoughts about all of this. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you in the next video.